Good morning guys, Anthony, 4 Diesel and the Proto Hospital. Been explaining this one for many years, but it's a really important one, so stay tuned and watch the whole video. And if you haven't got time, like it, save it, do whatever, you really need to watch this. And remember, you only retain 10% of what you read or see, so it's just a natural thing. You need to do it a few times if you really want to learn. Really important information. The 1kd-ftv is an awesome engine, and it's not a problem, but it's durability and it's wear and tear, okay? And it's not part of any normal service, and it's reality. And this is what we do, so we've just worked out what needs to be done, and this is just really important information. It's no secret, it's been going on for years, we've been explaining it for years, but a lot of people didn't quite get it, they didn't hear it, they weren't there. They didn't read, they watched the first 30 seconds of the video, then they went, I can't be bothered, he talks too much. Well, if that's you, that's why you don't know what's going on, okay? So you really need to stop the shallow reading and shallow video watching and just watch the whole thing, make the time. Otherwise, you're gonna find yourself somewhere in the outback with a cracked piston and no engine. You're gonna be very sad when that happens, or you're gonna find yourself, whatever, right? Like, let's just not go there. It's all preventable if you follow the right service and maintenance schedule, not by the book, by what's needed. I can tell you what's needed. Everyone's got their opinion. You can believe whoever you want. I'm just here to tell you what I've found. I only work on Prados and Hiluxes with 1kd-ftv engines in them, generally around fuel system, injector replacement, all the issues, all the diagnostics and problems people, a lot of it caused by the wrong people working on the cars. They're just rough pigs, I've got to say, they're just butchers, so you just got to be really careful who you let work on the vehicle. So what I'm going to explain in this video, there's 2 minutes already, so hopefully I've got your attention. What I'm going to explain in this video is blow-by. Now, when we say blow-by, okay, so blow-by is a normal thing in an engine where you get a bit of blow-by past the ring, so we're not really talking about that, don't get confused. It's probably maybe even the wrong term. It's been used for years, and I suppose I've used it the same as other people just to keep it simple, blow-by, okay? So what we mean when we say blow-by is the seats at the bottom of the injector are leaking, right? So, okay, exhaust gas is blowing by there, whatever. It'd be easier to just say leaking injector seats, right? Now, you could say the seats in the head, and this is a gasket or a washer or whatever you want to call it. Sheets, I think Toyota call them maybe. But anyway, look, it doesn't matter. So what we're talking about is, we've got a container of them over here. We'll just grab a couple out and we'll just drop them here so you can see. They're the injector seats, okay? They're real ones, okay? So we've got a photo here. That's why this photo's here, to show you what injectors should look like when they come out, and that's shiny and clean like this one on the left here. You can see in the picture, I'm using my special high-tech Stanley screwdriver as a pointer. That's what they should look like. This is over here, this is a good picture because on the right we've got early stages of blow-by. That's when the seat's leaking, and you can see there's a little bit of rust and from the moisture, because remember when we talk about PCV, some people want to argue or discuss whether it's called PCV. Well, it's crankcase ventilation on every engine. Because we said PCV doesn't mean we said there's a valve there, and it's primarily there to remove the moisture, gases, whatever, right? Moisture, see, because what moisture, just see this? Rust. Anyway, that's another story. The point is, what happens here is the injector gets quite stuck in there. It can be hard to remove. You've got a compression leak, so you're going to have a little bit of a rough idle usually. The next stage is that compression gases. So here's a real injector here as well with a seat on it, which hasn't been leaking. So we've got a few here. We've got one here without a seat, just so you can see the difference. So without a seat on the right, with a seat. Now, what happens then, when this seat starts leaking, right here, so I'm going to pick that one up and bring it into the picture. When that seat there, real injector, starts leaking here, then the compression blows up the side of the injector here, and all that heat from the compression basically bakes this rubber. So there's a rubber O-ring there. It's all soft and pliable at the moment. But what happens with all that heat and then the oil, whatever, because there's oil at the top. So look, the oil doesn't do much. The oil basically, it doesn't affect the O-ring, because this is an oil gallery here, and that's what the O-ring is for, to stop the oil coming down, right? So the oil is what cools the injector, okay? And then you've got the O-ring stopping the oil from coming down this part. But what happens, because you've got blow-by at this seat and the compression's going up, well, it does blow past the O-ring and it bakes the O-ring, and it ends up all hard and crusty, and this is what can happen in very low kilometers if you've got the wrong type of seats. As you can see, they're yellow, they are brass. You can put your comments in if you think you know where the brass seats generally came from, but let's just do a little test and see who's in the know. I'm not going to mention it. See how it's cracked here? That's because look, this one may not be too bad, but from memory, look, all these brass seat problems I saw from anything in the four figures, like 9,000 Ks through to less than 20,000 Ks, most of them, they're all leaking. You can see the brass is intrinsically harder than copper. The seats need to be copper so they're soft and pliable and they squash to make the seal. You can see the mark here from the injector, from there around to there is what made contact. This part of the seat didn't even make contact, right? Which is why you've got massive blow-by at this side right here, which basically has taken out that O-ring, it's cooked it. It's quite simple, really. You know, some people want to argue about it. It's pretty simple. You can get lucky. See the one on the left here? It's like chips and tunes. You can get lucky. The one on the left here, well, the perfection of the, you know, the injector or the seat in the head, whatever the case may be, was very good with this one. This one almost good. You can see a little bit of not quite making contact. This one not too bad either, but this one was the problem one. So you can get lucky, and luck doesn't work, you know, because when you're unlucky, that's when you need a gasket that works. And what the copper does, it squashes and seals all the way around. Okay, so the point is the O-ring goes hard. So if the O-ring goes hard, then the oil leaks down this part of the injector here, all the way down. And then what you get is, if you look in the picture, I'll move that injector out of the way, that's when it ends up looking like this, because that's all the oil's coming down and the compression's coming up, and all that oil gets all baked and crusty and carbonized. And what happens then, remember up here was an oil gallery. So all that gets pushed back into the oil gallery, and in the oil system, some of it will get picked up the oil filter, some won't. It ends up back in the sump, whatever, because it blows out the top around the injector and it falls down past the head down the oil galleries into the sump, and it doesn't actually get to the oil filter, it sits in the sump. And what's in the sump? Well, get those out of the way. You've got an oil pickup, right? So here's our picture of the oil pickup. Blockamondo. There you go, there's a word for you. Fully blocked, see that? This engine was still running, so that's the good news. This happened, this one here, I remember that one. I'm pretty sure that was 19,000 kilometers with a set of brass washers like this. This is not a one-off. We saw heaps of these. We saw dozens of them, and a lot of calls from people Australia-wide with the same problem. So it's definitely a problem. Don't be thinking it's a maybe. If you've got brass washers under your injectors, I would have got them out ASAP. It's at that point now. You may never get those injectors out. They get welded in really badly. If you've got that blow-by situation, let me get another picture from over here. So these things here, they get quite stuck. It's very hard. That area there particularly, right, really badly stuck. The problem is this cap nut here, it goes on clockwise. It's very tight, but if you sometimes you need to twist it both ways to get the injector out. So the point is, if you've left your brass washers this long, you might be lucky to get them out, or you might be better off just leaving them there and run the engine into the ground, and then you buy yourself a new engine. So that was a big mistake. Brass washers, whoever did that. Here's another one over here, just to give you an idea. A little slightly different color, but you can see the twisting, and it might not look like much, but that can be hours of work to get that out. Look, I'll just have a flip through if there's any other pictures here for you, There's another one with fairly dry blow-by just there. This O-ring here's just started leaking, so here's another one over there. Here's one with two blow-by and two injectors. Here's another one with one. I've seen a lot of it, so please don't argue about it. It's just what it is. I haven't got time to argue and muck around. If you want to argue with facts, and look, this is what I see, so it is facts. If you want to argue and carry on, I've given you the information, just say thanks. Don't ask for more. You'll get it as it comes. Appreciate what you've got. I don't owe you anything. This is free information. Please listen. Now, here's another problem with a certain brand of injectors. When you see a black injector tip like that, just while we're at it, it's a bit off topic, you've got a problem. What else have we got here? Not much else. We've got DLC on a certain brand of injectors wearing off the command piston. Again, another subject. Whatever. Reman injectors. Just having a look if there's any other blow-by. Not dirty EGRs. No, happy days. So look, more or less that's about it. So that was to explain to you what we mean when we say blow-by, and people go, oh, why'd this happen on an engine all of a sudden, whatever. this is the deal, right? Check your oil pickups, okay? Check your oil pickups every service. If you've got good seats, injectors or seats have been replaced and the job's been done right, you don't need to worry. You probably don't need to check them, but it only takes 10 seconds to have a look. Now, I hope this video has explained to you. Blow-by causes blocked oil pickups, causes oil starvation, which is primarily going to damage your bottom end first and your turbo, and then obviously other parts. It's going to do permanent engine damage. So make sure you understand what's going on. If you're not sure, 0490-261-013. I'm in Melbourne. I can supply injector kits, seal kits, whatever you need for this sort of work. I can do some of it. I've got people around, I've got a couple of guys around Melbourne that we can recommend, Sydney, Brisbane, up the East Coast. Look, you know, there's a few workshops around that, you know, either we can recommend or it might be worth giving them a go, because that's better than this. But you've got to be careful where you go, because people can cause this, okay? So, all right, guys, a bit of a long one, 11 minutes. Get on my page, the Prado Hospital. Subscribe to the YouTube, 4x4 Diesel. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on the next videos as they come up. Oz Prado Crew's the Prado group. Oz Hilux Crew's the Hilux group. We've got another one, hashtag 1kd forever crew for those guys. 1kd is a really awesome engine, last of the best. We understand all the problems and it's all preventable, okay? So every engine has its issues. It's no worse than any other engine. It just might seem that way because you got me telling you about it. Who else is doing it on other brands? Not happening, right? Whatever. All right, guys, have a nice day. See ya.